I didn't expect I would be introduced that way as an MTV guy. I know I'm cool, but in a different way. Actually, Julian and William already introduced the basics about MMOs, real money trading, and gold farmers, and they both mentioned these Chinese professional gamers. I'll just say that for me, gold farmers means someone who actually sits in front of a computer, keep playing those online games, gathering virtual goods, or they can do power leveling, which is they play other people's accounts until it reach a higher level than their customer take over. So for me, although Julian, you're a gold trader, you have this retail model that you also sell gold, but I wouldn't consider you a gold farmer. So I became interested in this topic by accident. Basically stumble upon this topic because one of our friends was operating gold farm in China ever since 2003. So I visited his gold farm in 2005 just out of curiosity. At that time, I knew nothing about MMOs. But once I saw his gold farm, I immediately feel that many issues I was studying, issues about network society, about global capitalism, about youth culture, are all condensed, I even say crystallized in just a single image of a gold farm. So I'll start by just showing you what I saw in my first visit to a gold farm. So that's what I saw in my first visit to gold farm. It's quite striking. And since then, I've visited 7 more gold farms with quite similar scenario. And I interviewed many industry insiders. One question I often ask, how did the whole thing begin? And I heard many stories about the origin of gold farms in China. And like all stories about origin, you can't believe in them too much. But all of them point to the influence from Korea. One of the story has it that a group of Korean players basically come cross the border and came to China and established the first factory-style gold farm in China. And at first, those gold farms all served Korean market. But in 2003, with global hits like Lineage 2 and World of Warcraft 3, the European and American market for virtual goods really grow. So thousands, some people even say tens of thousands gold farms emerged in China. And I often wonder why China? Why it's China that become this world factory of virtual goods? It's not entirely surprising since it is the world factory of everything labor intensive. But you would think, why isn't India? Because it has cheap labor too, and it has people good at the computer and the good internet infrastructure too. So I would suggest that the strong gaming culture in China also matters. Julian already mentioned that geeks are considered cool. They're in TV commercials. And it's true, and there are a huge population of young Chinese are familiar with games. They grow up playing online games. And it's important. Not everyone can become a professional gamer. I myself tried and failed. It's a literacy. You can learn. For me, it's learning a foreign language to learn how you play a game. And I failed, and which endangers my academic career. That's the importance of learning to play games. And entrepreneurship, because many many gold farms are established by former gaming workers who learned trading other people's gold farm and start their own. Another factor is government tolerance. Actually, the industry is so new, there's really no official policy in China to regulate this industry, but many local officials felt that this industry reduces unemployed youth on the street, so it's good for the economy and security. Also, in 2003, a gamer actually sued a game company after his account was hacked. He lost his virtual chemical weapon in the game called Red Moon. He sued the game company, and the Chinese court decided that the game company should compensate the gamer for the loss of virtual property. So basically, the Chinese legal system does support the ownership of gamers over virtual property. So basically, the whole gold farming industry does not have any conflicts with the Chinese government. So I'll just go and show you more scenes from gold farms in China.
而且我去加团了，是不是？你是属于精英队的，精英队本来就去注册了，以前是小队长，因为小队长，你屌了什么？我是小队长，现在不知道太牛了，太牛了，不知道是被谁。
So, gold farms like these are often referred to as, actually, go back to this. Referred to as gaming sweatshops. I think a New York Times article on this phenomenon are one of the first to refer to that as a gaming sweatshop. I think the term sweatshop does sort of capture some of the characteristics of gold farms, which is, Julian mentioned, they work on a 10 to 12 hour shift a day, and it's 7 days a week. They rarely get any days off. They're paid about $40 to $200 per month. And it's really not easy job to kill virtual monsters for 10 to 12 hours. And really, the basis of that industry is cheap labor. So in that sense, not that different from other sweatshops. But there's something different, as Julian mentioned, that after work, after their shifts, many workers will still go to internet cafes and keep playing the games they worked on. And in any other sweatshop, you wouldn't see workers go back to their assembly line after their work. So that means there's something different. The goat farmers I met are all young male, and most of them were already game fans before they take on a job, and they didn't have better alternatives. They were either unemployed or had a worse job. So I'm going to show you a segment that basically asks them what kind of job is gaming.
做职业玩家乐趣的话，第一个我们可以玩世界上最好的游戏、最先进的游戏。在中国天2还没出来的之前，我就开始接触天堂2。在魔兽世界中国还没有出来的时候，我就可以玩魔兽世界。另外的话就是迫于压力吧。 因为在中国这个地方的话，就业很难，想找一个工作真的很难。是在做职业玩家以后的话，你一边可以游戏，一边可以得到虽然不多，但是可以得到一份收入，也是比较开心的。
总之，反正这是一份工作，不管是怎么赚钱的，只要不去做那些坏事。 为什么现在中国这么多人在打钱？其实这一行确实，不轻松，因为每天坐在那里，如果你自己有一点烦恼，然后再天天扒到电脑上面，对眼睛也不好，对自己身体也不好，天天在坐着。
铁哥又是因为人手不够，又招了一批人，大家反正都是年轻人了。 好多人在一起玩，都是觉得很开心，而且玩游戏这本来就是从来没想到过玩游戏还能赚钱，这也是属于大家在一起又是玩呢，又是反正都比较愉快，大家都是以兄弟相处的那种。
I'm not mad at them for being able to play games for a living. I think anybody that plays these games would love to be able to sit down and make money off of these. Now, if you're going to say, well, what are you going to do? If I'm going to go sweat for 12 hours in the hot sun building a house, or what are you going to do? I'm going to sit down at a computer desk for 12 hours and have fun and make just as much money as you did. Which one would you pick? The nice 12-hour job, doing something you enjoy in a nice, cool house. You can be able to get up and get a drink whenever you want or do whatever you want. I think the choice is obvious.
然后，业余玩家的话，就比职业玩家就轻松得多，你级别不需要太高，然后就是一般很平常的那种级别，在中间的那些位置，然后就能交朋友。每天上游戏也不会像那种职业玩家很枯燥的那种练级啊，每天就是一样的。
第一个就是社会压力，因为社会普遍不认可把游戏当做工作，这是任何一个传统概念里面就是不认可的、否定的。
就是有的时候家里人也不是太赞成搞这个行业，他们就觉得以老的观念来讲，你这种在玩一玩就能赚到钱，怎么可能？然后就他们那些观点对我们的压力也是比较大，很多人都不赞成做这个事业，虚拟的东西，他们根本不知道我们这做的是什么东西，就觉得你们一天到晚玩，怎么可能赚得到钱？然后还卖给别人，怎么卖？他们就有好多不理解的，对我们施加的压力也是不小。
If I were to meet a gold farmer for real, I would probably shake his hand for having one of the probably the most interesting jobs. I don't think I've met many people that can make a living just playing a video game. But then I would probably ask him, you know what you're doing is not accepted. Why do you do it? You know, And if I'm assuming that his response would probably be something along the lines of, so what? I mean, it's a game, there's 7 million people, why shouldn't we be allowed to? And it just shows that, you know, they don't have respect for the intellectual property rights of these companies, and they also don't have respect for other players in the game, at least as far as I can tell.
网上这行的话，他没有个人的时间的话，他跟外界没法接触，没办法接触的话，他觉得跟外界脱轨了，脱轨后他一直生活在虚拟世界里面，他不知道他的前程会怎么样，他将来的路会怎么走。
So for me, I wondered why one person's play can become another's work. One thing I think is because economy are so connected today. I don't mean just national economies are so connected. Obviously, a virtual economy is very much connected with the real world economy. So just like in the real world, capital can basically go to anywhere now, seek out cheap labor. That's possible in the virtual world. Of course, it's definitely interesting to see actually cheap labor take the form of these mythical figures, you know, medieval hunters and warriors. Another concept I want to introduce is alienation of play. It seems that today it's fashionable to quote Marx. I'll do that too. Here's a quote from Marx. The alienation of play manifests itself to the player in that this play does not belong to him, but to someone else. The activity of the player is not his own activity. It belongs to someone else. It is the loss of himself. So that's Marx's definition of power leveling. Suppose he played World of Warcraft. So if you think about it, those gaming workers play are alienated from them because they're playing other people's accounts, and once they finish their job, the virtual characters they give their life to, and sort of was once their virtual selves, then belong to someone else. When Marx say, you know, in capitalism, our neighbors are alienated, he means that basically we sell our labor to someone else. It does not belong to us. It's not part of ourselves. It does not really add meaning to our life. Our life starts after work. And I think we all sort of accept it as inevitable in capitalism. But now it's another thing to say, even play can be alienated. Julian mentioned that, and I am persuaded that play is a irreducible element of life. It really adds meaning to life. So what if that, after the commodification of play labor, can be also alienated? Okay, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to shift to another topic, which is there are a lot of actually conflicts in the virtual world, and there are a lot of resentment among regular gamers against Chinese gold farmers. So I will show you some of that discussion.
Radio, where we went to a popular place called Tier's Hand in Eastern Plaguelands, a very popular place for farmers because of the drops there. And during the show, we had about 20 people go through and camp the area and basically kill farmers every time they would respawn. It was a lot of fun. Later, there's become a project called Project Gold Farmer, where gold farmers, gankfarmers.com, I believe it's .com, it could be .net. This group has a listing of well-known farmers on different servers and where you can usually find them so that people can actually go out when they're bored and kill these farmers and stop them from collecting money and items. I believe that that's the most successful group of its type so far. It is associated with WoW Radio, WCRadio.com, and they call themselves a vigilante group that tries to make the World of Warcraft a better place, I guess.
就是只要他知道你是 Chinese farmer， 他就觉得你在这个地方是没有权利待的，他就可以命令你离开这个地方，甚至可以命令你甚至可以随意的攻击你。交流问题，就是有人说是沟通无极限，我只要会沟通，哪怕一个警察和一个罪犯，他都能作为朋友。虽然两个人公事公办，但是也会作为朋友。就像我们在平时在工作的时候， 我们今天的任务完成了，还有4个小时、3个小时，我们也想去享受这个游戏，我们就想跟一些国外的一些玩家，我们说我们一起组队，我们一起去做一些小任务，我们一起想去副本去玩一下，没办法沟通。当你组了一个外国朋友，他们会过来说你想干什么你想去干什么我可以帮你什么？我们在那里哑口无言。其实我很想说，我们一起去玩吧，我们一起去游戏这个我们一起很好的去游戏，我们很想说，这说不出口。如果当一个 Chinese farmer 他在工作的时候，他在没有任何程序游戏的时候，他在手工操作的时候，我希望就是一些国外的玩家在看到以后，就是希望你能够理解他的工作性质，能够给他腾出一片天空来。这样的职业玩家的话会很感激你的，他绝对不会就是说跑到另外一个地方再去打扰你，他会盯在这里打，他只需要一片小小的天空，一个小小的空间就行了。
So, for me, the kind of anxiety of encountering in virtual worlds it means that we can't just see gold farming as another example of outsourcing industry. If you outsource a shoemaking job to China, the American worker who lost that job or the buyers of shoes wouldn't even really meet those Chinese workers. But here in the virtual world, the competitors for virtual resources and the consumers have to face those Chinese gold farmers. And obviously that kind of encounter causes anxiety. For me, it's interesting because it's a fantasy world. We can be whoever we are, supposedly. And our identity shouldn't be limited to nationality or race. But interesting, those things still matter. And I think the virtual world is very much the perfect global village in which it's this small place where really players from all over the globe can gather and play together. But it's also a divided global village. Things that divided us in the real world for thousands of years, obviously, still divide us there. And that's why I put the war on others there. I think it's no longer just about competing with the gold farmers for virtual resource. It become a manifestation of basically the necessity to define yourself against someone else and to have this win or lose scenario. I don't know if I have time. Can I go on or should I end here? Well, anyway, I'll just quickly say there are a lot of critique of real money trade in general, basically saying that will make the game unfair, it causes inflation, and pollute basically the magic circle, meaning this pure fantasy world which is totally isolated from any troubles from the real world. I just want to say, yes, a lot of these criticisms make sense, but for me, as a non-gamer, I don't really care about if I'm playing this fair game. I know some people are better than me, and they have more leisure probably and better computers. It's never a level playing field for me. And also, the question is what does, for a non-gamer, the question is really, what does this phenomenon tell us about the real world? What lesson can I learn about this? Basically, I think we can learn several things. One is the world is not flat. Thomas Friedman have this famous book called The World is Flat, basically assuming everybody now have the same access to the global market. But I think the gold farming industry shows the hierarchy is still there. People are still placed in the hierarchy of economy with the gaming workers at the bottom. And it's a divided global village. I mentioned that. Last point I want to make, I hesitate to make that right now because I think there are too many game fans here. My idea is basically you have gamers who are paying for this commodity, this game, and they basically buying the access to games, which is based on, those games are based on this pursuit of virtual wealth and virtual status. But then they can turn around and they criticize those people who actually buy virtual status and virtual wealth, the real money traders. So it's like you involved in the activity of consumption to criticize it at the same time. That for me is the work of ideology. That for me is the failing to see the irony, the contradiction in the system. For me is the work of ideology. Okay, thank you very much.